Hi everyone, this is Abby from MosaLingua. Starting to learn a new language is like setting off on an adventure. It's exciting, but it can also be challenging. Today's video is dedicated to all of you beginners out there. If you get frustrated every time you try to practice your listening skills, keep watching. Whether you're new to language learning or whether you already have 6 or 7 languages under your belt, be sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and click that little bell icon so you're the first to know when a new video goes up on our channel. Done? Cool. So as I was saying, as a beginner, it's really important to pick the right tools to practice your listening comprehension with, because it's easy to get frustrated by your lack of skills. Hearing that, some of you might be having flashbacks to those super cheesy, usually outdated videos that came with your high school language textbook. Don't worry, I would never force you to relive that. I have some other resources to recommend instead. If you're familiar with our blog and our other videos, you'll know that we talk a lot about what great listening resources TV shows and movies can be for intermediate and advanced and even some upper elementary students if you know how to use them correctly. So if you're not a beginner, instead of watching this video, you should check out this one, which is about how to improve your listening comprehension skills with movies and TV, or this one, which is a listening comprehension hack from Luca. But for true beginners, we recommend choosing resources that were designed for learners, at least for the first few months. Why? Well, first, because you still have a lot of learning to do. Would you go straight to the 10-meter high dive without jumping off the low board first? You need to lay down a solid foundation before you move on to something too complicated. Otherwise, you could put your motivation in jeopardy. Your main focus at this stage of the process should really be on vocab, and you need to find a way to learn the correct pronunciation of every new word you learn. Now, why do I say correct pronunciation? Because lots of new learners will read a word and memorize how they think it should be pronounced, which usually isn't quite right. And then when they hear it in a conversation or another listening exercise, they don't understand it, even though they know the word and they know what it means. This is easiest to do with a flashcard app. Ours includes built-in recordings by native speakers. But if you have a different way of keeping track of vocab lists, Forvo is a great site for finding out how to pronounce a word. Choose your target language, search for a word or phrase, and listen to the recording. You can even download it as an MP3 and save it to your computer or phone.
Hello, how are you?
My next tip is related to the first one. Learn full phrases, sentences, and questions instead of just isolated words. Not only is this more practical for communication, but it can also help you understand them better when you come across them in one of the resources I'm going to talk about in a minute. Liaisons, or the way we blend the ending of one word into the beginning of the next, can really change the way a group of words sounds. So when you learn them as a group, you're more likely to be able to understand the individual words and make sense of what you hear. Once you've learned some words and sentences, move on to the next resource, dialogues about some typical situations, like the ones in your MosaLingua app. By the way, when I say move on, I don't mean stop learning and reviewing vocab. You should still aim to learn 5 to 10 new words or phrases a day and add in other listening practice little by little. Most of your real-life listening practice at the beginning of your learning will be based on short conversations about common topics. So start there. Try this. Pause the recording after one character asks a question. Take the time to think about what they said and how you might answer, and then listen to the response and check your understanding. Podcasts for learners are another suitable resource for beginners. They're usually short, which is good since listening is such an intensive skill for beginners to practice. Plus, they're usually focused on one specific topic, unlike podcasts for native speakers, where the host can go off on a tangent, and if you haven't prepared that vocab, you'll be totally lost. Some even have transcripts or lists of keywords you can use to reinforce what you hear. I put some of our lists of favorite podcasts for learners in the video description. News clips aren't designed for learners per se, but they're another nice tool for beginners. Why? First, news anchors tend to have neutral accents and speak clearly. Sometimes there are headlines or images to help with context. They're short, and they're also more interesting and varied than some other resources for beginners, since current events change all the time. And lastly, you might already have some context to help you understand. I do recommend choosing clips on topics that you've already heard about in your native language, so that you can pick out some key vocab to learn ahead of time. For instance, if you're interested in learning about Carnival, you might prepare the words holiday, celebrate, parade, and then while you're watching, see what you understand and if you can pick out any of those words you prepared. Mosa series is another great resource that can act as a segue into more complex listening resources like movies and TV. You get all the drama, excitement, and even romance of a TV show. But since it's designed for learners, you also get a structured method for how to work your way through all 24 episodes and improve your listening comprehension and vocab. And every episode is full of interesting dialogues, which, as I said, are really useful for improving your listening comprehension. At the end of the series, you learn how to apply the method you've been using to authentic resources. So I hope these will be of use to you as you continue to work on your listening skills, and I'll talk to you again soon.
If you learned something new from this video, give it a thumbs up. Then hit subscribe and turn on your notifications. Have a look around our channel for more hacks and tips. And if you're watching on another social media platform, like or follow our page. See you next time.